Hey guys, we're Team Trekyards. I'm Captain Foley.
I'm Kongs.
And today we have something special lined up for you guys, something fun that we thought we'd try. So Samuel, what do we have that's so special?
Well, you might have noticed they released an episode on a familiar ship. Well, we've remastered, redone is fair to say, our original script.
I wouldn't say remaster. This is a redo.
Yes, it's a 2017 remake. There you go, remake. Yes. And today, for this version, this longer episode, we want to show you in one flowing edit the original 2014 version of the Romulan TOS Warbird, moving directly into the 2017 TOS Romulan Warbird. You've already seen the episode earlier today. I hope you guys enjoyed it, but this is them back to back, so you can enjoy it fresh and really get a sense of what we're doing and why we're doing and have some fun, because we've come a long way. So get ready to see my hair get shorter, our sets to get worse, our LCARs to get worse. Get ready for all that good stuff, Stuart, and audience.
And bear with us. This was season 1, episode 1, pilot number 2 of our show. And so cringe through the first bit, and then you'll get to enjoy some funniness and as we re-examine it in our new style, but same script at the end. So hopefully you guys enjoy it.
So take it away, us from the past.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Trekyards. I'm Captain Foley, and I'm joined by my associate Samuel Cockings.
Hello.
Today we will be looking at the Romulan Bird of Prey from the original series episode Balance of Terror. Yes. This ship, however, is also known as the Romulan Warbird. So let's begin, shall we?
Like I say, it was the Romulan Bird of Prey, and that was because well, you've got it there, haven't you? Because the very distinctive hull markings, and we don't see those again pretty much in the series. Very distinctive, and it was in, like I said, in Balance of Terror, and also later on, in terms of viewing time, we saw a pre-version in Enterprise in the episode Minefield.
The prototype, seen in 2266, remained in service till 2305, peaking around 2274 with about 250 in service. In Star Trek Online, the Romulans still use a similar design in 2409.
That's a lot later.
It is.
Did you ever use one in Star Trek Online, or?
Yes, I did. My brother loves using it. He uses it all the time.
Cool. So this version of the ship is 68 meters long, which is about 3 runabouts. So not big, but definitely big enough for a spaceship.
It has 5 decks.
And it's a crew between 150 and 170.
The original Balance of Terror one only had an experimental heavy plasma torpedo launcher.
And this weapon was quite interesting because you could limit or maximize the amount of plasma going to the weapon and therefore do damage between a starbase or just an individual engagement. So very flexible.
The only way to survive a plasma torpedo generally unharmed is to use direct fire energy weapons such as phasers or disruptors to dissipate the plasma strength. Photon torpedoes won't affect them.
Yeah, and that was seen in Starfleet Command 1,
I
think. Yeah,
yep.
And that was
Volume 2, yeah.
That was a fun tactic, seeing those big red fireballs and then shooting them out with phasers.
Yeah. The other option, of course, with plasma is to outrun them because they have limited range and the plasma dissipates over distance. So.
And that was actually in the show, wasn't it? So that's 100% canon.
Yeah.
And the one we saw in Balance of Terror, actually, although you might not think it, actually had strong shields to survive missions, but an extra strong hull plating while cloaked.
Yeah, the reason for that is the cloaking system took up a lot of power, so they would have to lower shields while cloaked. So they enhanced it to make it a tough little ship by adding excessive armor plating on the back.
Tough little ship, as tough as a Defiant, or?
Probably a little tougher.
So the one we saw in Balance of Terror was a sublight vessel only. There was a bit of discussion on what it is, but canonically it's sublight. So we think that it was dropped off by a larger vessel, perhaps a bigger Warbird, and that's how it was in the part of the mission. And it had a cruising speed of warp 6 and a max of warp 8 for 2 hours.
Yeah, the War Eagles, which were the warp-powered versions of this, had Type 2 RWC, were powered by 2 RWC Type 1 warp units and 6 RIB Type 1 nuclear fusion impulse drives.
And Stuart, what are they? I don't know.
They're simple impulse fusion style generators, if you must know.
Okay. God, we're very geeky in this show, aren't we?
That's the point.
And we've got some really interesting details. The expected hull life was around 30 years, with a mission length of around 2 years. Obviously not the one we saw in Balance of Terror, but for the average Bird of Prey. and it was about 8 years between refits, so quite a long life.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to some trivia now. As everybody knows, this was the first ship in Star Trek history with the cloaking ability.
And it cannot fire while cloaked, which sets up that canon precedent as well.
Yep.
Until one of the movies.
Well, the Klingons are the ones that fix that problem. But anyway, 2266 was its first test across the neutral zone.
It destroyed several outposts before being destroyed, well, fought and captured, attacked by the Enterprise. Classic.
And the Romulan strategy, this was interesting to find out. They would test on their enemies first to try to determine how best to defeat them. So they used stealth and managed to go unknown to their aggressors in most of their encounters.
And it says here, the loss of the prototype Warbird convinced the Romulans, who couldn't compete with the Federation militarily or technologically, that led to their treaty with the Klingons, which was obviously quite a big point of the original series. And that was in 2267, and that gave the sharing of cloaking technology by the Romulans to the Klingons for the D7s from the Klingons to the Romulans, which helped augment their fleet and disseminate cloaking technology. So why you might have thought cloaking first came or was throughout the universe, no, it was actually the Romulans who was the original creators of cloaking devices.
Yeah, and they did trade technology with the Klingons, like you said, so they got some D7s, and that became like the bulk of their fleet, as seen in the Enterprise incident. But also unknown by a lot of people, the Warbirds are capable of landing on a planet's surface.
Wow.
They have landing gear, so they're atmospheric ships as well.
It's cool. I mean, the original Enterprise could also land, theoretically, couldn't it?
Just the saucer section.
Just the saucer section. Okay, so it beats out on that then.
Yeah.
And also two 3-person shuttlecrafts.
Yeah.
Although we never saw those in canon, I'd like to see what sort of ships they'd have. But,
and yeah, they have large birds of prey painted on the hull, which gives the appearance of swooping down upon their prey. So very intimidating looking ships.
Yeah. Although if it's cloaked, it doesn't really matter. But
no, but it has to uncloak to fire.
It's
so you
true
see the bird coming at you, right?
Final attack. Yeah. And the predecessor, like I mentioned earlier, we saw an Enterprise in Minefield, and that was a bigger vessel. That was more of a warship. That was 130 meters long. It was armed with powerful disruptors, which were estimated to be so powerful that if they actually were a one-to-one engagement with the NX-01, they could have ripped through the hull plating. So it would have been a very strong vessel if it actually fought. And we know they also had warp drive of at least warp 5, and I would love to have seen them in the Romulan Wars, but that's another story. So.
Okay, well, the thing I like most about this design, like I said, the ship looks amazing from underneath and above, and, you know, from the sides it looks all right. But the front and back are really unintimidating. They're very narrow, which actually might aid in the cloaking field ability.
Science.
Yes, science.
Yeah, I like the ship design too. I think it's very sleek. I think it really flows with the whole Romulan aesthetic. I know that obviously started the trend, but I think it really is neat when you compare it to other ships of the Romulan fleet throughout the Empire's existence.
The thing I like least about the ship, probably the fact that it can't fire while cloaked. I mean, if they could have got that development, that would have been a great tactical advantage.
I like its more aggressive feel. Most ships of the era, I mean, Klingons are a bit bulky and they look powerful, but the Romulans, they made the effort to put the bird on it. But the least thing I like was it wasn't warp capable. I know obviously they would have had other versions of the ship that we did have warp, but in that day and age, you can't do anything without warp really. And I think, you know, it makes it more of a weapons platform than a fully fledged starship. And I don't think in any large encounter, I mean, more than one ship would rip through the ship as soon as it decloaks. So I think it's, as a testing weapons platform, as a first strike, it's brilliant, but I think it has some serious limitations as a starship. Yeah,
well, like you just said, I think in the one in Balance of Terror was just that. It was a test bed for the actual heavy plasma weapon that they had on there.
Yeah.
So it was very limited.
But it makes sense then, that's why they got the D7s, because they're a much more versatile and advanced in some respects weapons ship or attack ship. So I've got Evolutionary Ship Design, because we saw the original version of Enterprise and then in Balance of Terror. And I think, obviously, you've got to notice that TOS came first and Enterprise was based off TOS. And as at the time, TOS was made to be simple, as obviously the ship you've got there. It looks relatively simple, it's sleek, it's simple. It's said simple too many times. It's simple. And I think it works. You know, that's what all TOS designs really were. They were much simpler, much more streamlined. And Enterprise was more of a warship. It was more angular. And I think the fact it's a small prototype, the one in Advanced Terror, really, I think it feels that actually. So I like the evolution and development.
Mm-hmm. Oh, see, I agree with everything you said there, and like we just discussed, the fact that it was just a simple ship and used as a test bed for the heavy plasma weapon was kind of a limitation on it. But I mean, it was their introduction to it, right? So, and I know over the years there's been many variants of this design, with the end of the nacelles like being either semicircle, more conical like these ones are, or even more complete globes. You see different versions, and usually the colors are different too. They're either green, blue, or of course red. So it's interesting that there might have been different variations as far as engine types go.
Yeah, and I know that John Evans, pronouncement words, he designed the Enterprise version. I know he wanted to pay homage to the TOS version. I mean, like I said, I think it feels very warlike. I think with TOS being the exception, I think the design really flows throughout all the ships into the Nurixon from Nemesis. I think flows.
I think his name is Eves, just so we know. John Eves.
Thanks, Stuart.
I just don't want to insult anybody that might be watching.
Yeah. So that's all the information we have. I think it's a sleek craft. I think it was probably a big threat during TOS.
Yeah, well, this ship is the bane of my existence as far as Starfleet battles go. My brother uses it all the time. He uses Romulan ships all the time, very effectively, I might add. It's a great stealth and strike weapon if used properly, and it's definitely one of my all-time favorite Star Trek ships. But like as a model builder, it's a great design. It's beautiful to look at, but displaying it is problematic because the best part of it is on the bottom.
This is true. So
to design a stand for it, the best thing to do is probably hang it.
I think I've seen a Christmas ornament version of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect for a Christmas ornament.
Yeah. So that is our main show. But now we'd like to do a fun part, which is we take the ship we've just looked at and the ship we're going to look at, and we pit them together. Sometimes that's not overly fair, but we do it anyway. So, do you want to tell us what we're doing next week?
The next ship we're going to be doing is the Phoenix, Zephram Cochrane's legendary warp ship, as seen in First Contact.
And, oh joyously, I have the Phoenix and you have the Bird of Prey. So, Stuart, how would the Bird of Prey win against the legendary Phoenix?
It would be cloaked. I'm sure the Phoenix doesn't have advanced sensor systems, so it wouldn't even really detect it decloaking. And, of course, one plasma torpedo would be it, because the Phoenix has no weapons as far as being able to dissipate the energy of the ship, and I'm sure it couldn't outrun it for very long.
But
there's always a but.
The ship is very maneuverable. I have warp, you do not. I could avoid you by that. True. I could probably turn round somehow and ram you. I could blow up in front of you and damage you. I don't know.
Self-destruction is always a great way to damage ships.
Yeah, I mean, we have antimatter probably. I think it's more than a match for your ship.
Okay, well, that's a fair assumption.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
I think it's safe to say you win that one, Stuart. Yeah.
Of course, I'm the captain after all.
Next week, I'll get you.
Okay, we'll see. Okay, well, that's it for this episode, guys. I'd like to thank you for tuning in. If you want to learn more or see more, visit the Trekyards Facebook page. Yep. Also visit our website at www.trekyards.com.
We have a website. So awesome.
And please like and subscribe to this channel because that really helps us out, and also it gives you a heads up regarding new episodes because they'll get emailed to you. Yeah. Thank you very much for watching. Like I said, this is Captain Foley.
Hold on, a big part of this show is user feedback. Obviously, we've got a very active Facebook already, but we want you to suggest chips for us that we can do in future episodes. We have a few planned, do a few there, but we want a list. We want to know what you want to see, even if it's obscure, even if it means it's super difficult, but we want to do it, we want to make content for you. So let us know, put it in the Facebook, and then, yeah, we'll make a big list, and we'll do them eventually.
The more difficult, the better, because we like a challenge. We got to find out information about these ships. Look at Samuel.
So excited.
Anyway, guys, this is Captain Foley and Samuel Calkins.
Yep.
Signing off for now. Bye, everybody.
See you next time.
Hey guys, I'm Captain Foley.
I'm Connor Coggins.
And we've encountered kind of a temporal anomaly here on Trekyards today. We're actually going to be doing something fun and creative and revisiting our first official script, as it were, the Romulan Warbird, or Bird of Prey.
Yeah, October 10th, 2014 is when Trekyards started for the masses. And this is that exact script, reread for you in 2017 with all of our knowledge and improved presenting skills, but the same exact script. You've seen the original, you've seen the journey to get from there to here. Let's revisit.
It's been a long road, getting from there to here. It has been.
Trekyards, Season 1, Episode 1, the second pilot, because that was a joke straight away that I planned. I said we should do a double pilot.
And I think it's worth saying, too, that we didn't initially do scripting, per se, as the thing back then. We did point form notes, and then we wanted to be more fluid.
Yes, which
we
weren't.
weren't very confident with presenting, and we didn't know we would have a fan base and people that love us.
Oh.
So, yeah.
But the same exact script.
Same exact script.
The Romulan Warbird, nicknamed Bird of Prey, because of its distinctive hull markings of a bird on its underside, first seen in the TOS Season 1 episode, Balance of Terror. Its predecessor appeared in the first episode of, or the Enterprise episode, Minefield.
The prototype, seen in 2266, remained in service till 2305, peaking around 2274 with around 250 years of being in active service. In Star Trek Online, the Romulans still use a similar design in 2409.
The ship is 68 meters in length, which is roughly 3 times the length of a Danube-class shuttlecraft.
It has 5 decks.
It has a crew between 150 to 170. That is so many crew, Stuart. How on earth are you fitting that many people in this ship?
Yeah. I only used like 1 or 2 research sources at the time. But anyway, the original version in Balance of Terror's only weapon was an experimental heavy plasma torpedo launcher.
This warbird could modify the strength by limiting the amount of plasma used. One shock could be as powerful as up to 20 photon torpedoes.
Now, the only way to survive a plasma torpedo unharmed, well, relatively, is to fire energy weapons such as phasers or disruptors to dissipate the plasma strength. Photons will not affect them. Or you can outrun them, as they have a limited range and plasma strength does dissipate over distance.
The Bird of Prey variant we saw in Balance of Terror in the 23rd century had limited shields and relied mainly on reinforced hull plating.
Because the Bird of Prey was outfitted with a cloaking device as its main defensive systems, shields would be lowered while cloaked, so they prioritized making it one tough little ship without its shields.
And he added little. Yeah, you had little. It was just
it just
tough
said
ship.
one tough ship without its shields. Yes, I didn't want to make a joke back then. Heaven forfend.
But now it's a first contact reference, as we always say. The Bird of Prey weapons prototype we saw in Balance of Terror was a sublight vessel and was dropped off by a larger warbird of unknown class. Other warbirds did have warp, but these were called warp eagles. They had cruising speeds of warp 6, which they could also push to warp 8 for 2 hours. And they do mention it being able to go to warp in the show, and they also don't, and there's problems with that. So we went with this version of the original script.
Well, it's based off Starfleet Battles designs. But they were powered by 2 RWC-1 warp drive units. So I'm glad to see that back in the day I was still using the Starship Spotter for a lot of technical aspects as far as engines go.
We sounded smart.
Yes. And since then we've met Rob Bonchoon, who co-wrote that book. So, yeah. Or 6 RIB-1 nuclear fusion impulse drives, which are simple impulse fusion style generators, depending on if it was a War Eagle or a Warbird.
The expected hull life was 30 years, mission length of 2 years. The Warbird's estimated time between refits was 8 years.
And now for trivia facts, because this is something we did. We broke the script up into different
trivia
categories.
Facts.
Trivia facts. So this is things you can amaze your friends with when you have a trivia party of some
and
sort.
Bullet points, which we're adding to by their own pizzazz.
These aren't really bullet points. These are more like pellet points or like BB points. They're kind of... Anyway. First ship in Star Trek history with cloaking capability. At least on screen, not canon. So, well, not chronological, I mean.
Cannot fire while cloaked.
What? 2266 was its first test across the neutral zone.
Destroyed several Federation outposts before being stopped by the original Enterprise.
Romulan strategy was to test enemies first and try to determine how best to defeat them. They used stealth and managed to go unknown as their aggressors in most of their encounters.
Loss of the prototype Warbird convinced the Romulans they couldn't compete with the Federation, which led to their treaty with the Klingons in 2267, and the sharing of cloaking technology for a fleet of D7 battlecruisers, which became the core of the Romulan fleet, as we saw in the TOS Season 3 episode, The Enterprise Incident.
Episode 4, to be exact, in Season 3.
And there's some nice symmetry there, because we've released the episode about the treaty in full detail, so we got to it eventually, guys.
Yeah, which I just wrote like 2 or 3 weeks ago, so we've come full circle in almost 3 years here. The Warbird was capable of landing on a planet's surface.
They were also equipped with 2 3-person shuttlecrafts for the 150 people.
Large birds of prey painted on their hulls, which gave the appearance of swooping down upon their prey.
Although you had to do it in like this angle to look like it, which is a very awful maneuver. Do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like...
The predecessor, oh nice, Warbird, the Enterprise, was a patrol class and measured 130 meters long. Was armed with powerful disruptor cannons and had both a cloaking device and warp drive of at least warp 5. These disruptors would have ripped through the NX-1's hull plating in a battle, and it's worth saying we're reading this verbatim.
Yeah, all right. So discussion, because this is the discussion part of the show, which in the early days we broke the show up quite a bit.
Underlined discussion,
Yes.
bold underlined.
Yes, Stewart. It says. Oh, that's me. The thing I like most about this ship is it looks amazing from the bottom. It's pretty cool from the sides. It's got some cool looks there. However, I do not like the fore and aft views, as it looks really slender and unimpressive. Although this design may in fact aid in the cloaking field ability. That slim look.
Which we also talked about in another recent episode, coming soon.
Absolutely.
Samuel, my name in the script. I like the ship design. Again, this is literally what we said back in that time, so this is awesome to reread. Samuel,
Yes.
I like the ship, and I wrote this myself. I like the ship design. I think the bird shape really sets off the design aesthetic, and I continued to like all the other Romulan ships seen even in games and expanded canon. They are sleek.
First usage of sleek. Yes.
Episode 1! Although it might be using the pilot, we can't remember. But episode 1, guys, we got there. Sleek. And I said it first, it is a Samuel catchphrase. And I think you can tell there are a warlike species intent on strategically efficient design. Sleek design, apparently. Oh, I have another paragraph.
There's
Wow.
more. There's more. You got a lot to say.
The thing Stuart's like this much, and I've like that much. The thing I like most is more aggressive feel. If you're in a fight with a Romulan bird of prey, it would feel if it was swooping on you with its powerful plasma weapons. I'm sure most ships of the time wouldn't be able to stand up to the assault. It's a good design, and I would love to see space battles between it and then its refit during the Romulan War. I think I mean the old one, but both of them, they're both cool.
Yes. Now the thing I like least, probably the fact that it is unable to fire while cloaked. Really, I said that? Oh my god.
Such a cop-out.
It is an advancement that would have guaranteed success, as well as a major tactical advancement. Because I needed to tell you guys that, for you guys to know that.
I think in my brain I'm saying duh.
Duh. Yeah, for sure.
The thing I like least, I think, is the fact the vessel we see in Bounce Terror wasn't warp capable, sort of. It's obviously more a weapons platform than rather than a fully fledged starship. But I think the Romulans were right to seek out the Klingons and try and leapfrog ahead in terms of warships, since a single ship armed with a single, even powerful weapon would be easy bird of prey for a fleet of ships. You need something with a more versatile arsenal of defensive systems and offensive, which I think their new and modified D7s would have done well for. Or Stormhawks? Did I have that episode? Is that what they're called, the D7s?
Stormhawks, yes, absolutely.
Evolution of ship design, but no underline. And it's me again, because I didn't give Stuart another line here. In terms of evolution, it's the same for most Enterprise and TOS ships. Everything in the original series era becomes sleeker, second use, and simpler in terms of design. I think that works. I can definitely see the bird of prey we saw in Bounce Terror being a small prototype. And I think there must have been very many versions of the bird of prey, from larger assault craft to perhaps even shuttle variants, following the same design aesthetic. Stuart.
There's blank scripting here because I can't find my copy of the script. So it's got Stuart and then blank. But I kind of remember what I said.
Okay.
Something along the lines of, I like the idea that there were different versions of this ship. In Starfleet battles, there are warp-capable ones. There are ones that are impulse only. Different weapons, loadouts, things like that. So I love the fact that we speculated that it's a larger bird of prey that's warp capable, bringing this ship in, and it's just simply a test bed for the new plasma torpedo-based weaponry. So no warp systems, just simple bare bones, power dedicated towards the weapon.
I know John Eves. Oh, we met John Eves. Hey, that's awesome. Didn't know him in this episode, but we know him now. I know John Eves. I know that John Eves, who designed the Enterprise Zero Bird of Prey, wanted to pay homage to the TOS version, and I think he did a great job. I think as a warship, the Enterprise version feels more technological and warlike. I can certainly see the direction the Romulans were going in, how it ended up with an Erikson class from Nemesis.
Now wrap up.
Underlined this time. So yeah, I think it's a sleek craft, and certainly was a big threat during TOS. I set the bar. I hit that ground running, didn't I? Straight in this show.
You did. Again, here,
so,
I don't have a line.
What's your wrap-up, Stuart?
I think it's a great ship. I love the design. I love the look of the bird on the bottom. I think it's what I'm going for there.
You hate the fact you can't fire while cloaked.
Can't fire while cloaked, and it's ugly from the front and the back. Yes. So, now introducing the next ship.
So,
this was a thing.
Part of the show, we introduce the ship we're doing next, and something a bit more silly and fun, because silly and fun. We take a ship that we've just discussed and the ship we're going to discuss and argue which would win in versus.
And the next episode we will be looking at is the Phoenix, Zeph Cochrane's legendary warp ship as seen in First Contact.
And
now,
Stuart, you're gonna get the bird of prey, and I'm gonna get the Phoenix.
Oh, hold on a second. I got to jump in here and say, this was something we did for the first 12 episodes probably. Yes. Introduced the next ship, and then due to production and just the way that filming and adding all the extra animations and things that you do, just we couldn't release them in the proper schedule, so we needed to change things up a little bit, right? So we got rid of the verses because a lot of people even complained that the verses were just too silly, and so. But
we're doing it anyway. Again,
it's evolution. We are doing it again. I got the bird of prey.
Although I will just say, nowadays I don't think there's a single episode in the last 3 months we recorded that week, releasing that week. Of any given. I mean, we just don't do that. We totally out of order everything. So
some are filmed and 6 months later get released because we finally got all the assets we need or whatever.
We've got Trekyards from literally October before our mission trip. It's not October yet.
We have some films that have been in the bank for months that aren't released yet. So
normally for good reason though. But Stuart, we are versusing. So you're right. You're getting the Enterprise Zero Bird of Prey. I'm getting the Phoenix. I'm
getting these. This bird of prey, the TOS version.
Yes.
So we're talking about Enterprise there.
Oh. What's the next word in the script, Stuart? What's the last word of this entire script?
Argue! Fight! It says argue. Fight!
So Stuart, who wants to go first in this battle? You or me, do you think?
Oh, I will.
Okay.
Oh, you can't. No, yeah. Okay. I'm coming in cloaked, as you see.
Okay.
And then I decloak. No. And fire my plasma weapon, and then cloak again.
Well, I'm dead.
Yes, you are.
No, I remember last time I remember it was a ridiculous concept. We just wanted to do random order of ships, and I said, "Oh no, but my Phoenix, no, that was actually the DY100." I said it was a quantum gunboat. Damn, I didn't even
quantum gunboat against the Federation class dreadnought.
I don't even remember what I did for this. Okay, so Phoenix. Okay, so warp capable. Bit of metal between you and space. What I'll do.
And ironically enough, this one was not warp capable.
It's true. Mostly. Probably. Okay, what I'm going to do is I am going to... So you're starting to decloak. Well, me being wherever I am, I'm expecting trouble because why the hell am I out in the middle of nowhere in Romulan space? I'm coming after you, Stuart. I'm going to utilise the missile nature of the ship and destroy you. So I'm going to... As we start to get towards you, you decloak. And I'm like, go! And we jettison the pod, the front pod. It rolls out the way in thrusters. Then, on emergency maneuver...
This is way better than the first time, I guarantee you.
Thank you. And then, you start to fire the plasma. But as you know, plasma is a bit whatever. So I'm going to activate the warp drive, which creates a warp bubble. As it starts to go through, the warp bubble, I think... Your plasma can't hit a warp bubble. I mean, that's...
what? Just hold on. One thing. Whoa, whoa. Okay. So you separated your main cab, and it's
yes. So the rest of the ship
activate warp
exists.
drive? Because the warp drive's in the rest of the ship.
Yes, but that's the point. I'm activating this. I'm remotely activating that the rest of the ship's warp drive. Okay. The warp bubble is your plasma can't do anything to warp bubble, so it like goes around it. Then it warps, but it warps. Wait, hold on. But it warps into your ship. But because it's so close and they've timed it so well, it's like a sub warp. We remember from episode 7, Star Wars, which definitely wasn't out when this was out. You know, they hyperspace inside a ship and everything, you know, collapses. So same thing. As it warps into and through your ship, it obviously it's got no shield, so the hull can't withstand that. So it makes like a ripping tear through your ship as it forces its way through at, you know, a light speed basically, which then rips your ship apart. And I'm stuck in space and I die from dehydration. But I got some really great movies on the flight computer, and I sent a signal back home saying we did it, guys. Earth is safe.
The answer is no, because first of all, your ship doesn't have the sensor capabilities, advanced sensor capabilities, to able to detect my ship decloaking, unless you're visually looking at the exact same spot that I'm decloaking at the time.
Well, yes.
Because it's a primitive ship. I just need to get my point across here. And then you said I can't hit a warp bubble, but I can, because in Balance of Terror they were warping away from the plasma torpedo, and it still impacted them as they were like, because it can hit. And so you're wrong.
But what if
you'd be pretty much screwed.
But what if I warp through the plasma? I mean, even if I warp through the plasma and it does hit the ship, you've still got partially light speed components being flung at your ship. Your armor's not going to survive wreckage of this thing hitting your ship.
Well, I'm not that close to you. First of all, I can fire from like.
Yeah, but in this show they're very close. I thought you'd be really, really close.
No, and directly in front of us. Just that's the magnification on the viewer that looks like it's close.
But I was hoping you'd be literally like just in front of me there.
I can be close, but no, you don't have shields. So
you don't have shields.
You wouldn't have any shield. I would when I decloak, because as
you have armor.
Decloak,
you said you have armor, no shields.
No, it has armor for while it's cloaked in case it gets a hit.
Oh.
It has, as it decloaks, the shielding system comes back on, so it's shielded. Then as it decloaks, it goes down again. Okay, so maybe it is going down. Maybe it is going down while I decloak. But the fact is, you don't have any shields, so the plasma hitting your ship is devastating regardless. You don't even have a deflector to deflect any particles out of your way at warp.
That wouldn't make any difference anyway. Okay, you know what I'm going to do?
What? This is way longer than our first verses.
Yeah, after our maneuver fails, this is even longer than the first episode. After the maneuver fails, I'm going to put on the EVA suit, open up the canopy, get outside, and use that gun that Worf used in First Contact, because he left us one. We're going to say, cloak this, and hit your hull repeatedly with the plasma thingy.
But then I've cloaked and moved, so.
Well, that's good. Then your armor won't be able to survive the 24th century bolts.
It would, for sure it would. But only 1 or 2 hits, and then I'd be moving out of your way, and then you wouldn't know where I went.
Okay, so what next? I'm out outside the ship on a little pod and EVA with a gun. What do you do next?
Then I'm just going to aim my ship directly at you at impulse power and just, speed through your chest.
Get those spikes out and just, stab me. Just, really meanly. Yeah.
Yes. Or just decloak above you and go, oh, look, I'm a bird, and then cloak and take it out.
I'll just go lower, just slam me down the ground.
Anyway, guys, I don't know how we extroed our old shows, but that's it. I guess we determined that I would probably win. No. We didn't see that coming. He did a valiant effort on Samuel's part, though. Some great thinking and innovation there. So, love that.
Thank you.
That's the thing.
We've got more Trekkie in these 2 years.
So anyway, we'll see you next time, guys, as we do the Phoenix, Ephraim Cochrane's warp ship.
Thanks this week on Trekyards, because we told you, versus. But we hope you guys enjoyed this. It was a bit of an experiment. We've obviously come a long, long way, as you can see. What do you think, Stuart? Rereading a script from literally 2.5 years ago. What do you think?
A refinement process is pretty interesting. It refined pretty quick between this one and episode 5 or 6 even. We got full scripting by that point and things. But it's interesting to go back and see this kind of style. I like it. Actually, I learned a few things again because I haven't seen the episode in a while. So 1 or 2 little facts stuck out to me, which was interesting, I guess.
And I like, obviously, the way I think we didn't do as well originally is because we had lack of confidence. It wasn't our jam. It wasn't our thing, So same information. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's the exact same thing, but
Yes.
Just the presenting, just the confidence has really elevated this. I had a lot of fun. I think I still interview things, and I think, you know, this is way longer than the last episode with the same information. So,
and I think it's worth saying that this one will be remastered at some point with a lot more information, a lot better everything. But we just want to have a little fun with this and kind of do a redo of the original script. So
but hey, you've got the new renders. You've got the Eagle and Moss version of the Bird of Prey. You've got the studio asset version of this Bird of Prey. I mean, or Warbird. They're both.
You still got my pewter Franklin Minute one that was sitting here the whole time during the episode.
Some things don't change.
It's true.
Except our audio, video, quality, presenting, facts, resolution, LCARs.
Confidence,
fan base, hairs, beard, probably weight. I've got bigger.
Yeah, I have too, for sure. But, yeah.
So until next 2020, when we redo this episode for a third time, I'm Commander Cockings.
And I'm Captain Foley. Back then, you just called yourself Sam. You didn't like the Commander Cockings title.
Sorry, I'm Sam Cockings.
And I'm Captain Foley, because I already had that established.
Bye, guys.
And we are not Trekyards yet, but see you later, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.